cybercrime fraud has increased as a result of the recent pandemic. It's quite unfortunate. Lots of people have lost their information, and these scammers are using this opportunity to steal innocent people's information, rip them of their money and their businesses. This is quite sad. At this time where we are faced with lots of challenges, but they are taking advantage. It's quite unfortunate, and that's why it's important that we share with you information and knowledge as well as tips on how to stay safe so that you don't get into the trap of these people. It's quite sad. Data breach can happen to anybody. Recently EasyJet had a data breach, and over 9 million customers, their names and email addresses have been shared. So it can happen to anybody, and that's why it's important that we hold this session. Today we have Soraya with us. Soraya is a mobile forensic expert. She has so many years of experience teaching information, business information, security, and cyber and anti-cyber crime, sharing this knowledge with lots of people, private companies, government parastatals. And also, yes, she volunteers currently for the cyber section of the Hampshire Constabulary. So today we have Soraya to share some tips with us that will help us stay safe from these online scammers and fraudulent people, and how we can keep our information. Hello, Soraya. Thanks for joining us today. How are you today?
Good morning, Bola. Yes, I'm very good today. I'm very excited to join you in your show.
Good. I've talked a little bit about you. Can you briefly introduce yourself to us, please?
Gladly. Hello, everyone. My name is Soraya Harding. My area of expertise is mobile forensics and business information security systems. I have been working with the government, with government organizations, charities, and other entities for about 10 to 15 years. So I'm quite, I will say I have worked in different environments, and I have faced different challenges in security, like from I think everyone is at the moment dealing with. But yes, that's kind of me in a nutshell.
Yeah, pleased to have you here. Right, so as a result of the pandemic, lots of online scammers and fraudsters are using this opportunity to scam people of their businesses, and they're using several methods. So I don't know, would you be able to share some tips with us, firstly on how to identify what scam is and what to look out for when you receive such? Maybe sometimes they use emails and they come to your social media platform. So what tips would you like to share with us today?
I think there are 4 tips that we normally use, because those 4 tips go for different devices that we use.
Okay.
First of all, whatever happens, you need to make sure that your information is safe. So you always need to have backup of your information. This could be online in the cloud. That could be in an external storage. Anything that can get away from the computer is important to have your data backup.
Okay.
Then another thing that you need to remember is, now we're not using just one device. In the households, we have children's parents, we have a variety of devices, and that means that in the day we will have a smart TV, we will have tablets going on, we will have the mobile phones as well as laptops and computers. So it's not just one way of getting into your data, it's a variety of them. So it's important that you identify all the devices that you have at home and how you're protecting them. So that is important. In terms of children's tablets, it's important that parental controls are identified. So you know what websites your children are accessing. Because I have personally had a 8-year-old that is very good at getting on eBay and Amazon. Yes. And the moment that you kind of get an order from it, fraudsters automatically send you an email as well.
Wow.
So because you made an order on Amazon or eBay, you will receive an email from PayPal that looks very similar as the real PayPal, saying, oh, we have your order, you just have to confirm your password.
Wow.
Yes.
That's
and because
quite,
and because you've done it at that moment, you think it's from real PayPal and you don't verify the sender credentials.
So how do you actually spot the fake PayPal? Because sometimes you can actually make payments on eBay with PayPal. So how do you differentiate between the fake PayPal and the real fake PayPal email?
Yeah. So lately, PayPal hasn't been sending emails about your purchases.
Okay.
So what you need to do is normally check the sender. And if the sender says, for example, inquiries@paypal.com, is a real email. However, PayPal hasn't been sending emails. So what you need to do is open the PayPal application and check and verify that what is the amount and the seller that you bought something from, it is the real one that you had it. So that's the best way to verify. It's not doing it through the email, it's doing directly from the application. But if you have to do it through the email, you have to check the credentials that is actually coming from PayPal. And normally
so you need to check where it's coming from. You need to be sure of the sender. And
yes,
sometimes they have like PayPal@gmail.com. You see, that's not or at something different.com, which is not PayPal.
Exactly.
The other interesting thing you have mentioned is putting security on our TV, on our smart TV and all that. That's quite interesting. So I'm really shocked that actually we can get our credentials can be shared via our smart devices. Can you enlighten us on that, please?
What it happens is now smart TVs especially have access to your Amazon credentials because you watch Amazon.
Oh, I see.
You have access to your Netflix credentials because obviously you watch Netflix.
Yeah, your YouTube and the Gmail and everything.
Exactly. And to buy something from Amazon, a video or a new film, you have already authenticating your payment methods in your smart TV. So you don't have to re-authenticate it. So if you get access to your smart TV, you already get access to those payment details. So that's why the next point of order is normally try to, I think this is a little bit more advanced, but normally is to secure your router.
Oh, I see.
There is a government organization called Atlantic Council that has developed a like a filter of this, which is called Quad 9. And then you can put that in your router, and then every cyber attack that's trying to come to your house, it gets redirected to their servers. So you will have everything filtered in there.
Okay. Oh, that's really good. The other thing I would like to we want more tips on is, for example, you go to these websites and as a result of the GDPR, some of them says accept all cookies, and some people have concerns about that. So what do you think is good and what is bad in regards to accepting cookies and all this, especially when you're trying to shop online and all that? Are they taking your information? Do they have access to your information? How do we know the kind of information they're actually taking from us and how protected it is?
All right, cookies are not having any of your private information. What it is it allows your computer to record where you have been. And it normally is kind of telling the search engines, this person has been in here, so recommend this type of products, for example.
Okay.
So that's what cookies are in again, very simplified terms. However, what they are trying to have is having a consent. And the GDPR, they cannot share your information if you haven't consented. See, so if you go into a website and you sign for a new service, you have to make sure at the bottom normally is the two little tick sheets that you have in there. That one says, I agree with the terms of and conditions of the website. And also there is another one that is, I'm happy to share my information to third parties.
Okay.
But people just tick those two without actually reading. And the only one that you need to agree with is agree with the terms and conditions of the website. That's it. Yeah. But there are some websites like Facebook that can use your information, because the moment you create the account, you are already agreeing for them to share your information.
Wow.
So Facebook.
So we're on Facebook. We've actually agreed that Facebook has access to all our information.
Yes,
Wow.
there is.
It's quite interesting to know that. Yeah, go on. Sorry.
There is a feature in Facebook especially where the pictures, if you untick that, it's normally in your settings, you don't give permission Facebook to use your pictures for publicity.
Wow. So everyone, this is quite an important tip. So you need to actually go to your settings to ensure that Facebook is not sharing your pictures. Because if you do not untick that, you're actually saying to Facebook that you can actually publicize my picture. I know I was doing a research that depending on the number of likes you have or the number of followers you have, Facebook will be able to predict certain things about you. You know, so I saw that and I was amazed. And shockingly, you go to some of these advertisements that come like on the sides of websites. You visit a website or maybe you talk about something and then you go onto a browser and then whatever you've talked about just comes on the side. So can you share us how does this happen? What's the secret behind all this? Are we breach? Is there any security breach or data breach or privacy breach? I don't know.
Well, it's not really, because every time you search something, those keywords get saved, and those ones get saved with your profile and your actual identity online. So every time you go to a different website, because it's been saved in your computer, it compares your identity with the identity they have stored and all your likings, and the search engine gives you recommendations as well. It's recommended systems. So that will happen every single time. Sometimes you go to, you actually pass through a shop and automatically says, you've been in this shop, give us a recommendation of this. There are some applications that also will record the number, the time spent in a shop to see what was your engagement with the shop. So if you went into a shop, depending on the size of the shop, and you spend more than 10 minutes, you have engaged with the shop. So it is, they record all these things because that's how they recommend you information. They recommend you products. It's a marketing. It's a sales strategy these days.
Right. Yeah. So you said you had some other tips. I think you've just mentioned two. So what are the other tips you like to share if you want to go on?
Well, the next tip is, I think a lot of people has overseen a lot. They don't have antivirus anymore. For some reason, the antivirus has gone a little bit out of fashion because more and more people are not using their computers and laptops. They have migrated into using their phones.
Yes.
So even video conferences, even you will say even shopping now, you just don't use your computer anymore, you use your smartphone. So I ask you, do you have an antivirus in your phone?
No, to be honest, that's the first time I'll ever think about it. I've never thought of having previously, yes, on our computers, we used to have antivirus, isn't it? But to be honest, even I've never thought of it, you know?
Yes.
So Mm.
That's one thing. And then if you have to pay, can you pay with your phone?
Oh yeah, I make payments with my phone.
Yes. So contactless payments you also do with your phone,
Yes.
and you don't have an antivirus.
No, I don't. Oh my
So
God. Yeah, but the thing is, do you know, I have never thought of it, of having an antivirus on my phone.
yes.
That's shocking.
And
But
another
to be honest,
thing,
you'll be shocked at the number of people that are in this same boat.
yes, but that's something. It's quite simple to just download an antivirus in there, because also if you see, when you pay contactless,
Okay.
you phone literally just touch the machine. You
Yes.
don't agree with something, you don't confirm anything, you don't have a pin.
Mm.
Yes. So if it's a lot of people that tend to carry their phones in the back pockets. If somebody arrives with another device that can capture your data, they just touch it
They
and
just,
they have your payment details.
wow.
So it's recommended to have a case for your phones that avoids that avoids contactless information being taken away. So
Wait.
that's another thing that we normally say. Oh, from the phone we can get loads of information. These days we can get anything out of your phone.
Your
I run a workshop with my students about how much data you have in your phone. And when they saw how much a forensic investigator can get out of the phone, they said, I'm not going to use my phone anymore.
Yeah, the thing is, you'll be shocked at the, like, just like you talking about antivirus. I have never thought about having an antivirus on my phone, you know.
Yeah.
But the other question is, how do we know the right antivirus to buy? Because as a result of this pandemic, these online scammers are using as selling antiviruses, you know, and all that. So how do we know what kind of antivirus that is safe, you know, because especially when you have lots of information on your phone, you don't want to download an antivirus that will probably get you into more trouble.
Well, I have to say there are not many antivirus that will get you into more trouble. Some antivirus will be too heavy for your device, so they will use a lot of resources of the device.
Okay.
I personally tend to use Avast.
Oh, I see.
Is quite good because it gives me not just mobile security, but also allows me to clean my phone, and also it has a email feature that will scan the emails that come through.
Oh,
So
so it
that
filters the email for you and identifies scam emails. Oh, that's a good
yeah,
one. Mm.
yeah. I think another main problem that we have with the smartphone security is that people are trying to use hotspots, Wi-Fi's.
Yeah.
So to not use their data as much as they normally will use. So
Yeah.
when they are moving around, they are looking for hotspots
Wow.
around, and they don't check the security. They don't verify if it's a secure Wi-Fi. It might be that I'm sharing my Wi-Fi through my phone just to get your data again.
Oh my God, yeah. I think there was a time I was actually stuck in London and I needed Wi-Fi. You know, for some reason, I think O2 had problems or something, and I was looking for a free Wi-Fi, you know. And to be honest, I just went on to and to be honest, a lot of people do that. They just try and look for free Wi-Fi. So we need to actually look at the security. That's quite amazing. So how do we know if the Wi-Fi is safe or not?
It is recommended to use the Wi-Fi's that the service providers give, like
Oh,
an
okay.
O2 Wi-Fi. Normally it tends to be the same organization Wi-Fi. So if you go in the train stations tend to have their own Wi-Fi.
Okay.
Even those ones don't tend to be very secure. So if you're using the Wi-Fi's, try to use it for something that you really need to. So it's trying to share as less
Info.
private information as you can. So is that very important that you normally looked what you're actually trying to share, and if you really need it? Because if you don't need it, why to use something that is not secure?
It's not secure. Yeah, so there's
Mm.
no point actually trying to look for Wi-Fi to go on Facebook or social media when it's not needed outside your comfort zone or
Yeah.
a zone where you're protected. Mm.
I think another, and it comes to the devices again, is the passwords.
Yes.
This is one of the most common tips, is now the passwords. But people has gotten a little bit lazy over the years with passwords,
Yeah.
because now you have the fingerprint and the iris recognition in the phones.
Mm.
But have you actually tested the iris recognition with a photograph?
No, I
I
have. To be honest, I'm not a fan of the. I'm not a fan of that. I really do not like it. And for every time I buy a new smartphone and it says I need to do the face, I just try and skip it because I don't like it. And to be honest, even with my husband's phone, sometimes, and I'm trying to get something from his phone, and I just get his finger and put it on the phone, and which is not good, but you know, but
Yes.
I'm not a fan of it, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, these days it's important that you have double factor authentication already set up in your devices, especially because your email, you can have just the access in your email. If you get access to your phone, you get access to your email automatically. You don't have to log in again.
Wow.
Yes. So if you have double factor authentication, makes you think again, all right, I have my password, but I also have to have my phone to log in there. So if somebody gets access to your email, they have to have your email credentials as well as your phone,
Yeah.
and you pretty much they need all your credentials to get in there. So having a multi-factor authentication has increased. However, not many people like using it because it's an extra step.
Yeah, and it can be frustrating sometimes because I've had situations where I need to log into my email and I don't have my mobile phone with me. I'll probably have to run back to go and get my mobile phone up, to be able to get access to my email on a different computer, which is good, but it can be frustrating sometimes. But if you think of the security and what you have to lose, I don't think it's a bad effort to make. Mm.
At home with passwords, somebody said to me, well, I don't change my password too often. When was the last time you changed your password at home?
I haven't changed my password in a very long time. And recently I had an email. I think, where did I get the email from? Oh, I think it was from Google that I needed to change my password, and so I recently changed some of it. But we have lots of places where we have our passwords, and so whenever I log into a new, then I start changing them. But to be honest, if I didn't get that request from Google, I don't think I would have thought of changing it. And I used that password for like 6 years.
There is a website called Have I Been Pawned? And it's quite interesting because you put in there your email and it will check if you actually been involved in a cyber attack.
Really?
And
I am pawn.
I am pawn.
How
So
is the pawn? Is it PORN?
It's PWNED.
Okay.
Yes, have I been pawned? And it's quite interesting because I haven't tested one email that haven't been pawned.
Wow.
So that you have all, even myself, I looked at it and then I've been involved at least 4 times in one.
God. Do you know, after this, I'll probably go and have a try and put in my emails there to see what activities have been going on,
Yeah, but then if you see recently, for example, EasyJet got attacked.
Oh, yes, that's true. And over 9 million customers. That's,
But they are not saying current customers. They are saying anything is stored in their service. And I took a flight last year in EasyJet. So what is to say that my email have already been there?
Yes, because of course you receive your e-tickets using your email, isn't it? And you have a password that you don't know how encrypted it is or how it's being saved. We put in these passwords and we don't think of, is it encrypted? Where do they save this? Who is going to have access to this password? These are the little things that people need to think about. Yes.
It's a bit difficult. Also now phishing obviously sending the emails that we were talking before
Yeah.
has also evolved. Now, it has evolved because people, like we said before, are not using their emails as much, but they are using their phones, and has evolved to something called smishing. And smishing means similar to the emails, but it scams text messages. So
I get lots of that as well.
Yeah, but you normally tend to have a message from somebody that you might know. So somebody has got access to their account and they send you a message. So they, by then sending you a message, you said, oh, what is this? They give you a link, and then you again double click, and then you give
So
you the
we need to be
information.
very careful with clicking on links that comes in via message, and think about it twice before you click on those links.
Yes, it's that's kind of the major tips that we have when we're working from home. Obviously, they are a little bit different if you are working from a company. If you're working from a company, normally it's recommended that you make sure that your VPN, because the organizations tend to have a virtual private network in your bring your own devices at home. So is make sure that when you're working with your organization data, your virtual private network is on. That is important, because without it, you are kind of, again, given access to the information. The virtual private network, what it does, it kind of masks your network and it gives you access to the organization network. So the security is already being in place for your data there.
One other interesting thing I would like to ask is, I get some people, like some friends, all of a sudden somebody from nowhere takes over their social media page. How do they do this? Because sometimes it's quite shocking that somebody gets access to their Facebook and, starts sending all those scam messages, and sometimes sadly they're not able to retrieve those accounts back. So how do they get access to this? Is it that I don't know.
There are a variety of methods. You can go, well, I'll probably go for the simple ones, because the advanced ones require a little bit of coding behind it.
Okay.
However, the simple ones is social engineering. I kind of tried to retrieve a Facebook account in the past. And some of the questions are, for example, where did I live in 1985, for example? Yes. So what do I need? If I know a little bit of the person, I will know where that person lived. Going to into the free information of the council, check what was the address, and share it back to Facebook, and I get access to the Facebook account as I was that person.
In most cases, it has to be somebody that is really close to you, that has lots of information about you, that would be able to do such a thing.
The simple way, yes. But the simple way, normally somebody that you know that gets access to it, because they need to know a little bit about your information. The majority of retrieve Facebook accounts tends to be information that you share personally. Because if you see the recovery option of the Facebook account, tend to say the town that you were born, the last names of your mom. So there are things that you kind of, and you, even if you don't know too much the person, you can find out. Because if I know your name, I search online, search on Google, and it will tell me your name, but probably I can search by your picture and it will show me your last names before that.
Wow. So you can actually search for people's information using their pictures.
Yes.
So for those that haven't shared their pictures on social media, I think you're quite safe. That's quite interesting to know that the people can retrieve your information using your pictures. Wow. But can our pictures, oh yeah, you actually said that we need to ask Facebook not to share our pictures publicly on the settings. So if you don't want people to search for your details using your pictures, you need to actually go to the Facebook setting and click on the button so that Facebook doesn't share your picture publicly. Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Facebook has a lot of features that allows you to be found. Normally, when you have your profile, it's important that you make your profile available to people that you know and just them, because he also has the option to see the people that you know and their friends.
And their friends, yes.
Yes. So if you make a profile available to your friends and their friends, those friends might not have the same privacy settings that you have. And through your friends, they get access to you.
Wow. So they can actually get access to you through your friend and your friend's friend. So it goes, the thread goes on like that.
Yes.
Wow.
It is very difficult, but all these security measures kind of take an extra little bit of effort
yes.
when you set up things, and that's what people don't really like sometimes, and that's when they oversee security. I was asking one group of my students, especially they tend to share accommodations, and I say, how many of them have lost their house keys? And I had about 5 or 10 that had done it, and they said, oh, I mentioned to them, and I asked them, how many of you actually inform your housemates that you lost the key? And then after that, I asked them, how many of you had your locks changed?
Wow.
So, and of all of them, I will have 50% of them that inform them that they lost, but nearly 1 or 2% that actually change the keys.
Yes, because you just can't go and duplicate, get one from a friend and duplicate it, as opposed to changing the locks of the whole building or the whole flats in the house.
Yes. Unfortunately, that's the same step of security now that in digital life, is it because it's an extra step, a lot of people don't take it. It's a little bit more difficult. So it's important that, especially during this pandemic, we think about security, because now we're not just having our data, but we having our children's data, we have an organization's data, and all of these kind of get shared to everyone, and we don't know who everyone is.
Who everyone is, yeah, it's really, really scary. Wow. Yeah, thank you so much, Soraya. Thank you for sharing all those tips. So Soraya has shared it. Do you have any other tip before we round this session up? Yeah. Is there?
Well, I think the last tip for everyone is make sure who you are sharing your information with. Even if it says that it comes from your friends, even if it says that it comes from your family, always double check.
Yes. Double check. Right. Thank you. Thank you so much, Soraya. So we need to pay attention to parental control. We need to pay attention to looking at the senders of emails, do not click on just any link. And also on your social media platforms, ensure that you look at the security settings and think critically, pay careful attention to what you are accepting. And be aware that also your images, people can search for your details using your images, and be very careful and take that extra pain to ensure that whatever you're doing online is secure. Yeah, but just one more question. When you're shopping online and they say, can we save your data? Is that safe?
Well, as long as you keep your password secured, it should be. There is in their service, but how safe they have it, we don't know. Like I said, it's many organizations that have been hacked lately, so you just have to try to be trust on them. I tend to have a credit Experian account that checks for me every month if my data is secure. It has an extra feature that checks if my data is secure, if my email has been a scam, or it has been involved in any cyber attack. So it kind of gives me that extra peace of mind, I would say, for me.
All right, yeah. Thank you so much, Soraya. It's a pleasure to have you, and I think everyone would appreciate the tips that you have shared. We do not take it for granted, so thank you so much. And yeah, it's lovely to have you, and we hope to have you some other time to share other tips with us. Yeah, so we'll let you go now. Thank you so much, and then you enjoy the rest of your day, Soraya.
Thank you for having me, and you enjoy your day as well.
All right, then,
Thank
bye.
you. Bye.
Thanks to Soraya for sharing all these tips with us. So think carefully before you share, before you make part with your money. Think carefully before you share any information. Pay careful attention and also take that extra effort to ensure that your security is in good hands, the security of your data. Before you pay for anything, you need to look at it very well and be sure that you're actually paying the right business or you're paying the right company. Also, when you receive invoices, like Soraya has said, be sure that the invoice is coming from an authentic company by looking at the sender carefully. So I think it's a good effort to pay that careful attention and look at all this information before you part with money, before you share your information. It's important. Yeah, before you share anything on social media, be sure that you are actually looking at the terms and conditions and you're paying careful attention to all this little information. And hopefully we'll be able to get through all this and we wouldn't fall into their trap unknowingly. And thank you all for joining. If you have further questions, we have the email on the screen. Feel free to send us an email with your questions and we'll be happy to treat it, and we'll get experts, like I have always said. And also, if you have found this very useful, it is important that you share it. Share it with your family, share it with your friends, because you don't want them to fall into the trap of these people. So it's important that you share this video so that a lot of other people can benefit from it. You can see us on our YouTube official Bows, and also on our Facebook, our Instagram. It's either official Bows or official_Bows. So do not forget to subscribe. And if you have found this very useful as well, do not forget to like it and leave your comments. That's quite helpful so that we can share more of these tips with you. And thank you for joining today. We'll see you again next week, Saturday. This is Dr. Bola Adeyeye Omishade. Bye.